And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting Saturday Night Wine Stream and another exciting episode of Drink with Rick. This is episode 101. Yes, if you missed it, we celebrated episode 100 last week, and boy, what a show it was. It was a lot of fun, and it went pretty long too. We may not be able to go quite as long tonight, okay? Because I've pretty much used my allotment of everything for the month already. So we'll. Hopefully we'll be able to keep this to a reasonable time and everybody can get some rest tonight, right? Well, this is Drink with Rick. This is a stream of consciousness kind of show. I am Rick, of course, and I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here. You know, as I said, this is a stream of consciousness kind of show. I do have some show notes, and they're right here with me. I have them right here. I don't always follow them verbatim. Sometimes I don't follow them much at all because this show is not about me. It's somewhat about the wine. The wine is a catalyst for the show. It's somewhat about the wine, but this show is really about you and me getting together on a Saturday night, just kicking back, relaxing, and just having a good time. That's really what it's about. And hopefully we'll have a good time tonight because I've got a pretty good show for you here. But once again, you pretty much make this show. So get in the chats. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me how your week went. Tell me what you're drinking or what you're not drinking or what you'd like to be drinking or what you'd like to see me drinking. And if I can afford a bottle of it, I'll see if I can get it and drink it too. Talk to me and talk to each other, of course. And we'll just have it. Let's just share it and share alike. We'll just have a great time. And let's see what's going on Facebook. We have it's a little quiet on Facebook right now. People tend to kind of wander in a little bit later, so it's okay. It's all right. The comments section, I have to find a way to be able to get that to scroll up so I can see it. Sometimes I don't see it. I see that people have made comments later, and I don't see them right away because for some reason I can't get that to scroll properly. So let me type something in here just to get that going, just to make sure that it is scrolling. I have missed, and I apologize last week. I know there's some folks watching last week who got into the Facebook stream or in the Facebook chat and was trying to say hi to me, and I missed them because the chat wasn't scrolling up for some reason. I apologize for that. I really do, but I appreciate you being here. Last week's show. It was a lot of fun. Checking on YouTube, not a whole lot going on YouTube at the moment. And yes, we've got folks in. We've got Barnstar in the chat, and it says, "Hey, Uncle Rick, happy February. All the snow melted here this week, and it almost feels like spring. Almost, almost. Well, we still have a little ways to go to spring. What, another 6 weeks? I think. What did Puxatawny Phil say about that? I don't know. I don't know that I hold much credence to that anyway. Whether he sees his shadow or not, I don't think he really cares too much. He's a groundhog. He does his thing. I don't know. But Barnstar, it's great to see you here. Please stick around and get in the chats, and let's have some fun here. Let me check around on Twitter. Not a whole lot going on Twitter. Okay, finally my feed showed up on Twitter. There, it wasn't showing up right away. But it is there now, so I'm glad it's there. So we've got the ball rolling on all 4 of the streams, the live streams. We do, just to let you know, if you're joining me for the first time or the 101st time or any time in between, you can chat with me live here on Facebook, on the Facebook page at Drink with Rick. On YouTube, YouTube is Drink with Rick. Twitch is Drink with Rick 1, Drink with Rick and the number 1. Twitter is at Drink with Rick. Course, right? And on the website, drinkwithrick.com. Now, we don't have a chat going on the website itself, but if you click on the post for the live video feed that's going on there, you can see the comment box. There should be a comment box down below, and you should be able to post or put a comment in there, and I will respond in kind. I'll see it at some point and respond. You can also email me at rick@savoyamedia.com, rick@savoyamedia.com, and I will be happy to read your emails and share them also on the show. And if you have any wine recommendations, send them here too. If you're a winery, please, if you want me to review a wine, send me a bottle of wine. Contact me at Rick at Savoya Media, and I will be happy to receive a bottle of wine and give it a fair and honest review. Okay, and I do follow the FTC rules on that. Okay, so for full disclosure. So this is what the wine is that we're going to be drinking tonight. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot the podcast. Right, the podcast. Thank you. The podcast, you go to drinkwithrick.com. You can subscribe to the podcast. The podcast goes out every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. You can subscribe to it at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Blueberry.com, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, and also by email if you click on the button for the subscribe button for email, subscribe by email. You can enter your email address and you'll receive the latest episode of Drink with Rick as soon as it drops. So that's good stuff to know. That's all at drinkwithrick.com, and it's the subscribe page there. So now let's get to the wine, because this is a little bit different. I know that, and you know that I prefer reds. I prefer dry reds. This is not a dry red that we're going to be reviewing tonight. This is a white, and it's a little bit on the sweeter side. Now, Rick, you're saying, why are you reviewing, if you don't care that much for for sweet whites, why are you reviewing a sweet white wine tonight? Well, it's because of the big game, right? The big game. We can't call it the excuse me. We have to call it the big game, right? I don't want to get a copyright strike for saying this. The big game is what we call it, right? Okay, because it's not trademarked apparently. Hopefully, it's not trademarked, or else we're still in trouble, right? So, the big game. I've got my thoughts on that, but I talked about that last year, about the time of the big game, and I don't think we're going to rehash it right now. So the big game is tomorrow, right? This is February 7th, I believe. And so everybody's getting ready for the big game, and we need to know what we're going to pair with some of these foods that we're going to serve on the big game. Now, of course, beer is a go-to. It's a natural go-to. Nothing wrong with that. But for those who prefer wine over the beer, sometimes it can be a little problematic because a lot of people serve a lot of different kinds of foods, and there's some foods that go pretty well with most of the wines that you can pick out and drink, but there are certain foods that just don't go well with that many different wines, and you have to really be careful about what you're picking. We're going to discuss that, but this is why I picked this one, because it's supposed to go pretty well with buffalo hot wings, and that's one of my favorite foods for the big game. Okay, so this is the wine that we're drinking tonight. This is a Birichino Malvasia Bianca. I know it looks like it says Malvasia, right? It's pronounced Malvasia. So this is the wine. It is a kind of a little on the sweet side, not too sweet from what I've heard, but it was recommended to me by the good folks at Winestore, winestore-online.com, because I was looking for a wine. What's a good wine to pair with hot wings? And they said, this might be the one for you. You might want to give it a try. Actually, they said, we know you like dry reds. Why do you want this? And then I said, it's for the big game. The big game. So they said, oh, okay, you might want to try this. So we're going to try it. We're going to give it a try. And before we try it out, let's get back to the chat for just a minute. And nothing going on Facebook. And the stream's going pretty good. Let's see. Barnstar says, another 6 weeks of when he made his virtual debut. Yep. That's right. It was kind of virtual, wasn't it, this time? That's right. I'm not sure it was. Right, the hype. This is the closest sports emote that I have to football. It's a soccer ball, it looks like. So he says that looks tasty, and hopefully it will be. We'll see. We shall see. But I do have some tasty things to pair it with. Let's get a quick look at that. For tonight's stream, my wife prepared for me, my lovely wife, she prepared for me a nice little set of foods that we think will go okay with this particular wine. Not the specific barbecue and things like that. She has some, I think there's some turkey, we have some grilled chicken, and we have some cheeses. We have, of course, the cheddar, and we have the Trader Joe's creamy or double cream Gouda. And we have a piece of apple pie, and I'm going to get a closer shot of this, and some of these wonderful little cookies that I'll tell you about later, and, of course, some crackers to clear the palate out with. And that's what we have to pair with the wine tonight. Now, pairing up this wine, like I said, well, we'll talk about that. All right, so once again, here is the wine, the Birichino Malvasia Bianca. This is a Monterey wine. It's a 2018. I'm going to read a little bit more from the back. This is the back label of the wine. Now, it's in 2 languages that I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's basically the same thing. They've duplicated on the top and bottom. The top is in Italian, and I'm going to read it in English because my Italian, even though I am part Italian, my Italian is not good. So it says in the English side, on the English side it says, "You can't be too rich," in bold. Well, I don't know. I could take issue with that. Not being rich at all. I'm Rick, but I'm not being rich. I really wouldn't know. You can't be too rich, too beautiful, or too Birichino. For the Italians, it connotes mischievous, impish, or nymphian, a mark of vitality and embrace of la dolce vita, in this case rendered molto secco. Of classical Greek origin, Malvasia threaded her way through the forests of Calabria before slipping ashore in California under cover of darkness. Her fragrance of jasmine, lime blossom, and elderflower suggests something quite sweet and sybaritic, though as the first sip passes the lips, she is revealed bone-dry, crystalline, and clear. She has learned, through her worldly travels, to flatter a diverse array of cuisine, from tea-smoked duck to a simply sautéed scallop to pasta al pesto. To know more of Malvasia Bianca and the spirit of Birichino, visit Birichino.com. And it is 13% ABV, alcohol by volume, in the 750 milliliter bottle, produced and bottled by Birichino, Salinas, California. And that is the scoop on this wine. So we're going to open it up here just a moment. It should be an easy open, though, because it is one of the twisty caps, the twist-off caps. So we're going to try that right now. Barnstein says, do you have a favored team for the big game this year, or is it more of a social occasion for you? Well, it would be a social occasion, and it has been in the past, except for the fact that since it's just basically the family at home, the 4 of us sitting down to watch the game, with 5, including the dog. Not that he cares too much. But really the 4 of us, since, in these times of COVID-19, we're not supposed to be having people back and forth at the moment. Hopefully that'll change for next year. But yeah, I like to watch the game. I do. I like to watch the game. Look, I'm from Florida, and, any Florida team that makes it to the big game, it's almost like sacrilege for me to say this because I'm here in Charlotte, and of course we have the we have the Carolina Panthers here, and of course now if it was the Carolina Panthers playing, it was the Panthers playing maybe a Florida team or something, I'd probably have to, root for the Panthers. But since the Panthers didn't make the playoffs and are not playing in the big game this year, so I'm going to go with the Florida team, Bucks. Okay, so just to let you know, I hope we can still be friends if you don't like them. Who are you rooting for, Winestore? Or do you follow football at all? I'm not a huge football fan. I'll watch a game every once in a while just for some entertainment value, but I don't follow it that closely. I used to like to watch a lot of basketball, and that was back when I lived in Florida. I kind of fallen out of that. I do like NASCAR, though. I do like to watch NASCAR, and we've got, next week is, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, but for a little preview, next week is, of course, the debut of the NASCAR season with the big Daytona 500. And for that, I have another wine waiting in the wings right here just for that event. So we're going to review that one next week. But in the meantime, this is what we're going to do for the big game this week. And that's what we're going to... So Barnstar says, same here. I don't follow either team this year. My teams are the 49ers and the Raiders since I was raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, anyway, yeah, he says, I've watched more Chiefs games than Buccaneers in the past, so I'll go with them. You know, I don't know. I've rooted for Kansas City in the past, and I've rooted for a number of players. In fact, I've rooted for the 49ers from time to time, and the Raiders, and I've rooted for, kind of like, it depends on which team is playing, which one I would prefer to root for. That's basically how I treat it. But of course, Tampa Bay, they're kind of close to my hometown, Orlando, O-Town. So I that's pretty much who I'm gonna go for. That's who I'm gonna go for this year. So okay, so we're caught up in the chat, I think, unless we have anyone else on Facebook, and I don't want to miss anyone on Facebook and on YouTube. So let's go ahead and get to the wine. We're going to open up this bottle of wine, and I don't need anything but my hands to do that with tonight because, well, it's a screw top. How about that? So let's just go ahead and open it. That makes it, I'm almost disappointed I can't use my mechanical corkscrew there, but that's okay. That's okay. So, with that opened, I'm going to aerate it. Now, I was supposed to have chilled this wine, and I was thinking about 2 hours before the show that I got to drop this quickly in the fridge and chill it down a little bit. But then I forgot. I started doing show notes, and I started getting wrapped up in other things, and then I completely forgot to chill it. So here it is, completely unchilled. Now, there's no rule that you have to chill a white wine, okay? A lot of people prefer to chill a white wine, and personally, I wouldn't mind having this chilled, especially if it's a little on the sweeter side, as I've been told. But it's okay. I mean, it's for the show, right? It's for the show. So to pour it, I have my trusty Veneto aerator from the Veneto Wine Lover set, and which, of course, can be purchased at Amazon. That's where I purchased mine, Amazon. And I have a banner in the top of the page, of every page on my website at drinkwithrick.com. You can click on that banner if you want to purchase one and purchase the whole set yourself. I think it's like $19.99 or something, unless the price has gone up or down or something, is what happens sometimes on Amazon. And maybe a few cents will go to me. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm not holding my breath for it. And I'm not holding back the wine either. So we're going to try this out. Now we have this, and of course, to hold this white nectar, I have my trusty and beautiful sounding Galway genuine Irish crystal glass from Ireland, given to me by my employers at BuyTwoWeRadios.com. We're going to pour just a little bit of this in here, just a little bit. And we're going to let it breathe for a little bit. And while it's breathing, let's learn a little bit more about this wine. Yeah, Barnstar says, gotta love those screw tops. Yeah, they kind of do. They come in handy for the show anyway. All right, so let's learn a little bit more about this wine. So I've been a little searching for it, and I found out, I actually have a text sheet for this. There's a text sheet from Birichino, has a website, birichino.com, and they have a text sheet for this thing, which I downloaded, and I have it somewhere. Where did I put it? It's somewhere around here. Ah, here it is. I have so many windows and tabs open, it's crazy. Okay, 2018 Malvasia Bianca. I'm going to read the first part of this because it is a text sheet, and I'm reading directly from the text sheet just for full disclosure. It says, our selection of Malvasia Bianca, an outrageously aromatic Italian variety, was brought over from Calabria in the 1900s and is now planted in southern Monterey County on shale, decomposed granite and clay. This variety thrives in climates that resemble its ancestral homeland, and the warm, sunny days and cold, fresh nights, blanketed in fog from Monterey Bay, allow it to preserve freshness and detail. Lower temperatures in the fall slowed ripening a wee bit, a blessing with aromatic varieties. We picked at night on October 4th, as is our habit. Malvasia is very explicit as to its signaling maturity. Now, they're teaching something about how they actually pick and impress these grapes. This is interesting, and that's why I wanted to read it to you. I'm still reading from their text sheet. Malvasia is very explicit as to its signaling maturity. These grapes let you know when they are ready. Until then, the bat signal stays firmly tucked. My words, not theirs. We've got some Batman references here. The moment the flavor spectrum includes flowers, sweet citrus, and still a touch of mint, the night sky lights up over Gotham. We're still in here with the bat. Somebody likes Batman. We continue our practice of extended skin contact, dual stream pressing, and extremely cold fermentation. We allow some skin contact overnight, then press at lunchtime the next day and ferment very cool and slowly in stainless, I'm talking about stainless tanks, until it's dry. Exotically scented, reminiscent of jasmine, lime, and elderflower, and yet the finish is very crisp and clean and dry. And that's by Alex and John over at Birichino.com. The release date, they released this in the summer 2019. 100% Malvasia Bianca. So this is 100. It's not a blend. This is 100% Malvasia Bianca, and the appellation is Monterey. So that's all good stuff on the text sheet. I'm glad we read that. However, I do have a note of this that I have no idea what elderflower smells or tastes like, to be honest. Is it elderflower from the elderberry tree? You know, the last time I had, we used to have elderberry trees in our house, and I was a kid. I was a kid then, and I have no idea. I don't remember at all what elderflower smelled like, if that's the same thing. Elderberry, the flowers from the elderberry tree. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. I don't know what elderflowers are. Maybe someone can enlighten me on this. Maybe if we have some folks here in any of the chats that can fill me in, enlighten me, and set me straight on this, because, well, I could use your help on that. I could. So I checked around some more online, and everywhere I checked, it seemed they say elderflower tastes like elderflower. I don't know. I guess we'll find out what elderflower tastes like. If I taste this wine, supposed to taste like elderflower, I guess I'll know then. I see on Vivino it has a 4 out of 5 star rating, and they list it among the top 4% of all wines in the world. And they have it listed for $21.99, $21.99. Now, I searched around Wine Searcher. I saw it for $13.53 a bottle, $162 and some change for a case at Saratoga Wine Exchange in New York. And yeah, $14.24 a bottle they have in Saratoga Wine Exchange for the 2018 vintage, I guess. Yeah, okay, so it's cheaper by the case. By the bottle, it's $14.24. The Cellar Door Wine and Cider, New York, that is $16.99 a bottle. Drink Dispatch in Missouri has it for $17 a bottle. You know, like I said, Vivino listed for $21.99 a bottle. And a Wine Store lists it, and that's where I purchased it, for $12.99 a bottle. Now, I'll tell you how much I paid for it, because I do have the receipt right here. And I paid for this bottle, 750 milliliter bottle of Malvasia Bianca. I paid, and this looks like, oh yeah, here it is, $12.99. That's what I paid for it, $12.99. So there you go. That was so it seems to be a little bit less expensive than some of the other places. Okay, Barnstar says, sorry, don't have a nose for anything herbal or floral. No, well, it was a good try. I appreciate your candor on that. I don't have a nose. Well, I have a nose for a lot of things, but mostly it's just for It's too early for the dad jokes, right? Okay. Never too early for the dad jokes. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a little bit of a taste. I'm going to check the chats here. Kind of quiet in the chats for the moment. So let's see what we've got for this wine. Wow, it is flowery. I'll say that. It is a lot of floral notes on the first whiff. And yeah, quite a few. It does smell kind of citrusy. And I'm getting a little bit of pear, I think, in there. Let's give it a taste. Wow, yeah. That's very floral. And yeah, I could taste the jasmine. I've had jasmine teas. I'm familiar with jasmine. Maybe a little hibiscus in there, maybe. Lime, yeah, kind of a lemon kind of taste. A little bit of a lemon lime kind of taste, kind of citrusy. But there is a little bit of that first taste. I wasn't sure if that was peach or pear I was tasting. Maybe a little mix of both of those. Let's have a little bit more of this. I'll try a little bit more. Yeah, very peachy. It's a very peachy wine. It's a peachy wine. Yeah, it is. It's very peachy. Yeah, I could definitely taste the peach, like a peach skin. And not fuzzy like a peach skin, but just, kind of has that peach taste. It is, yeah. I can taste the peach in it. It's but it's also a little citrusy. It looks, kind of tastes like it has a little mix of lemon lime in there, but the peach kind of stands out on the second taste, which I really didn't catch on the first taste. I still don't know what elderflower tastes like. I have no idea. But they say a little hint of jasmine. It is, it's not as sweet as I thought it might be. I actually expected it to be a sweeter wine. There's a twinge of sweetness in this wine, but it's a little drier than. Actually, it's a lot drier than what I expected. I expected it to be a lot sweeter than this, and it's really not. At least not on these tastes. It's fairly. It's not super dry. I mean, it's not super dry, but it's. I didn't expect it to be dry at all. That was the thing. I didn't expect it to be dry at all. Really, I'm not tasting much for tannin in this wine. It's not. I was expecting something like really sweet, and I wasn't getting that. It's a little bit twinge of sweetness, and it does have a lingering finish to it. At the end, it does have a bit of a lingering finish, which is a good thing. I like that, especially for pairing some foods. This might go pretty well with most of the foods that my wife picked out. We'll give it a try. Let me get one more taste. Little sweetness on the tongue. It's a little sweetness on the tongue, but it's not sweet enough that I don't like, because I really don't care much for really sweet wines. It just then they give me headaches. But this is not that kind of wine. This is it's better. It's actually better than I expected. I was thinking, well, you know what? I'm not going to drink much of this wine. If it's a sweet white wine, I can't really deal with that too much. But this is actually a pleasant wine to drink. I like this. I do like this so far. We'll see how it opens up a little bit. We're going to pair it with some food in a moment. But before we do, let's get back to the chat. Chat's kind of quiet. I don't know if anyone. I'm going to scroll the chat up here a little bit. Make sure that on Facebook, because I'm not trusting this chat on the side a little bit. I'm not trusting that too much. I'm pretty sure we have folks watching. It's just, if you're watching on Facebook, please drop by in the chat and say hi. That's the only way I know I can see there's some people that are liking it and I know that are there, but just drop in and say hi so I can see, because it looks like this chat scroll isn't scrolling much for me. And that was a problem last week when I missed some folks who were saying, they were trying to say hi to me. Oh, my wife is in the chat. Okay, hi, thank you, Chi, appreciate it. I had some folks that were saying hi to me towards the end of the show, and I completely missed them. because the chat wasn't scrolling up for me. I didn't see it till after the show was done. So that happens to me sometimes on Twitch too. It does. Like say if Lynn Marley gets in and says hi or something like that, and I won't see them until, I won't see her in there until like the very end. The show's done, and it's too late for me to say hi or give her a shout out, because I love to give shout outs to people. I really do, especially if you have a stream on your own on Twitch, or if you have a show or podcast or whatever it is. I love to give people shout outs. It's just I enjoy doing that. So please say hi to me in the chat. Barnster says, why does the Norway Navy have barcodes on the sides of their ships? So when they come back to port, they can Scandinavian. Very good. Did that come from the joke book? I must have missed that page of it. That's very clever. I like that. Barnstar also says, he says never too early for dad jokes at all. Well, okay. My kids would disagree. My kids and my wife would disagree with you on that one, because sometimes I start way too early, and depending on the mood they're in, sometimes any time of the day is too early. He says, do you know if the flavors are more pronounced when white wines are chilled or unchilled? They will have a tendency, and I think it depends a little bit on the sensitivity of your palate, but I have found that they'll be a little more, some of the wines, it depends on the wine. Some of the wines, it'll be a little bit more pronounced if you chill the wine first, and it can kind of bring that out. Other times, I found that if the wine is chilled first, sometimes on certain wines, it kind of subdues the flavor, and then I have to let it open up a little more and get it up to room temperature before I can really taste a lot of the nuances in the wine. And maybe that's just me, but that's been my personal experience with these wines, particularly the whites. So he says, Barnstar says, I found that one online actually. Okay. Good joke, by the way. So let's see what else we have going on in the chat. Nothing else happening. Facebook is once again quiet, but my wife is there watching. Okay, so where was I? Oh, yes, we're going to pair it with food. Let's clear out some space, and I can pair this with some food. Now, what we have here, and let me fill the glass again a little bit more. What we have here is a wine that pairs, that should pair well, and I've been told it will pair well with Buffalo hot wings, and this is why I chose it. Because if it turns out to be a pretty good wine, I might, if I maybe save part of this bottle for tomorrow, if there's any left, because I'm actually starting to like this wine. I'm actually starting to like it, and I don't say that about every white wine. I bet you say that to all the white wines. No, I don't. The thing is that the buffalo wings, some people will eat the buffalo hot wings and hotter wings. We'll get to the wine pairing just a little bit on that. I'm jumping the gun. But the red wines, not really the best pairing most of the time, even though I do kind of typically have red wine with buffalo wings. I know. But that's just me. That's just what I do. But it's really not the best pairing for that. And we'll explain that a little bit later. But right now, let's try it with some of these foods. Now I have here looks like a smoked turkey. I don't know that that's going to be the best choice for this wine. The smoked turkey probably goes better with maybe a couple other white wines that it'll go better with, or maybe a red or a Pinot or something like that. But we'll try it. We'll give it a try because that's what we had in the fridge. So we'll try it. And this is a really good turkey, by the way. I like this. I love smoked turkey. Actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad with the smoked turkey. It would not be my first. You know what? Actually, it's not too bad at all. Maybe I'm just hungry. Let me try that again. The smoked turkey wasn't too bad with this. It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt the wine or the meat. I don't know how much it added to either one. I'll see. Ooh. You know what? And not too bad with smoked turkey. I'd say if you're a white wine drinker, if you like the whites over the reds, this actually might not be a bad wine to go with that. Not too bad. Let's try it. I'm going to clear the palate for just a moment. We're going to try it with the chicken. Now, this kind of thing, the Malvasia, that is kind of a wine from what I've been reading about, because like I said, I don't drink the whites too much. This is a white wine that pairs pretty well with fish. And if you like shellfish and things like that, which I don't eat shellfish, but this is one that's supposed to pair pretty well with shellfish and things like that. And also a lot of vegetables. This is a wine that you can drink with a really nice salad. And I can do that. I can drink this wine. It seems like it would pair very well with a nice salad. So. Or even a fruit salad. I think it might go pretty well with that. Let's try it with the chicken, the grilled chicken. And this is a really good grilled chicken. I think, did this come from Trader Joe's or somewhere? Good grilled chicken. Try it with the chicken. Not too spicy. Oh, okay. Wow, it really, yes, it really magnifies the grilled taste of this chicken. Yeah, I think it works pretty well with the grilled chicken. I like that. You know what? I think this is not going too far onto the plate. I'm kind of impressed with this wine. I really didn't expect this. I did not expect this at all. I was thinking this thing's going to be sweet and try with a couple foods, and I don't know, but this is actually turning out to be pretty decent wine so far. Wow, that kind of threw me. How about that? So we're going to try it with the cheese in just a moment. Before we do, the Square Guys in the chat, one of my favorite streamers. That Square Guy's in the chat says, "Hi Rick," and hi that Square Guy. It's great to see you. I'm glad to see you. You know, I was in on one of his streams last night, and everybody had a great time. It was a lot of fun. That Square Guy, he does a lot of, well, he plays some games. He plays some games, but he also does Lego construction. He'll build Lego, put Legos together and build those, and he does that live, and he puts on a really good chat. It's very entertaining, and he and Darcy will do some baking videos as well, cooking videos, and I like to watch their baking and cooking videos. They do a fine job on that. I've been trying to get my wife to do some stream some baking and cooking videos, but she hasn't. I guess she doesn't feel comfortable being on camera with that right now, but we're still trying. I'm still working on it because I think it'll be kind of cool. Cook with chi. You got drink with Rick and cook with chi. That could be kind of fun. Anyway, the Square Guy, it's great to see you here. Please stick around. The Square Guy says yes, and baking stream soon too. Oh, good. Well, let me know because I want to be in on that one. I'm going to try and get my wife to watch part of that too because I think she'd really enjoy that. And it says, Little Miss Nikki's in the chat. Little Miss Nikki, it's great to see you. It says, I just followed. Thanks for the recommendation. And I assume the recommendation probably came from that Square Guy. Once again, I guess it did. Thank you for being here, Little Miss Nikki. Please stick around. We're going to have a good time. And by the way, it's an open chat. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, in case you missed it, the show's not about me. The show is somewhat about the wine, but it's really about you and me. It's about all of us together, just having a good time. And of course, here I am sitting here with a plate of food. If you can't see it all, here it is. And we're about to taste it with the wine. Once again, the wine that we're drinking is this. This is the Birichino Malvasia Bianca. This is a really nice white wine. I'm really enjoying this wine right now. Didn't expect it. Yes, that's right. A white wine. Who knew? But I'm about to taste it with pairings with the cheese. Let's try it with the cheddar. This is the cheddar cheese. See if it pairs well. I got to pour a little bit more of this. Cheddar cheese. I think this cheddar cheese is getting a little bit more aged than it was last week, if you know what I mean. Yeah, works pretty well with the cheddar. It does. It works pretty well with the cheddar. I'm going to have a little bit of a cracker and clear the palate. We'll try it with the Gouda. Okay, we're going to try it with the Trader Joe's Double Cream Gouda, which is one of my favorite cheeses and which we've never had a miss. We tried it with, 50, 60 some odd wines back here. Never had a miss with it yet. Let's see how it fares with this. It is a lighter colored cheese. It's very creamy. This might go okay with this. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Hit and miss on some of the cheeses with some white wines. We'll give it a try. So this is great cheese, by the way. Love it. Once again, we have another winner. We have a winner. The Trader Joe's Double Cream Gouda works pretty well with this Malvasia Bianca. I like that. Okay, well, we have a couple of desserts to try it with, but I think we're going to try those a little bit later because desserts not always, but usually really go well with wines, particularly reds, but this white wine, I'm going to see if it goes well with this white wine. I have been told that this wine should pair well with a lot of desserts, especially ones that are fruity desserts. And we do have an apple pie that was homemade, apple pie made by my lovely wife, Chi, a couple of days ago. And actually, this is kind of a rich pie because she made it, I think, with what'd you make it with? The crust, Chi. It was more of a pastry. This is very interesting because, I don't know if I can get too close of a shot on this, but this is a really interesting pie because she didn't make it with a traditional crust. She made it with a pastry crust. She made it with pastry and did it that way. So I'm going to try that a little bit later. We're going to see how that pairs well with the wine, if there's any left. In the meantime, let's go on because I know folks want to say, Barnstar says, drum roll, please. Little Miss Nikki says, I absolutely love Trader Joe's. I know, I do too. I think Trader Joe's great. It's so many great things in Trader Joe's. And they have they have a great selection of wines and beers, especially some craft beers. And I really enjoy those. My son, who prefers the beer over the wine, if you recall, for those of you who've seen it, and if you haven't seen it, go back and look, because when my son turned 21, my son Tommy, we did two specials. We did one on his birthday where we had 3 wines, and we did a live stream where we had him taste 3 different wines for the first time, a white, a rosé, and a red. And then he gave his own personal review as first time tasting wine. Now the next night, we did the same thing, but with 3 beers. And he tasted those. And he does prefer the beer over the wine. And he does like his beers, but he will get the beers from Trader Joe's. And there's certain beers that he does like that he prefers from Trader Joe's. Some of them are craft beers. And I kind of like them too. And I can understand why he likes them. But he prefers those over the wines. Let's see. Barnstar says, it's all toasty and flaky. Looks delicious. Yeah, and hopefully it will be. I've had a piece already, so I know it's really good. Now, whether or not it goes well with this wine, we'll see. But, pastry, it could be. Could be. So, let's see what else we've got going on in the chat. Anyone else in the chat on Facebook? And, Maxwell's in the chat. Maxwell says, hi, Rick. Good show. Thank you, Maxwell. It's great to see you. It's an honor to have you here, by the way. Maxwell, this is my friend Maxwell Ivey Jr., who is who I met in Podfest some years back. And he's a really cool guy, and for a lot of reasons. And I've got Maxwell, stick around. Please, Max, stick around because I'm going to give you a shout-out and a toast here. And and please, everybody else, stick around because later on the show, I have a personal I have a personal favor to ask of you, of everyone, of all my viewers and listeners here. Personal favor that I want to ask you. Maxwell, stick around. And Ed's in the chat. Ed, my good friend Edward Pennis is in the chat. Ed says, hi, Rick, and hi right back at you, Ed. It's great to see you. Did I say that right? Hi right back at you, Ed. I hope you and Shelly are both doing fine. As a matter of fact, you know what? Now, Ed and Shelly do a show called Selling Sarasota. It's a podcast, and they're both into real estate, and they sell real estate in Sarasota. So they're both realtors. And they do a show called Selling Sarasota, and I've got a T-shirt. It's not here in front of me, but actually I think I wore it to bed the other night because it's a comfortable T-shirt. And Ed and Shelly have been doing their show for about 3 years. They actually launched it. The first Podfest that I went to several years back, and that's when I met him at, and they launched their show that day, the opening day for Podfest, which is good. And I have been a dedicated listener ever since. And Ed, by the way, and tell Shelly this, that yes, I still listen to the show. I listened to your first episode. They just relaunched the show this past week, and I was listening to the first episode earlier today, as a matter of fact. It was the first free day that I had during the day to listen to the show, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And even though I'm not buying real estate or selling it in Sarasota at the moment, it's good stuff. It's just good to hear your voices and know that you guys are there. And it's just still a fun show. It's still a fun show. And by the way, just to prove I listened, okay, your T-shirt, people wear your T-shirts. Come on. People wear the T-shirts. The Selling Sarasota T-shirts are good. Like I said, I wore mine the other night to bed. I like the shirt. It's a great shirt. So please don't give up on the shirts. Okay? I know, the T-shirts are great. They are. So anyway, so where was I? Okay, so we were about to, we were about to do something. What was it? Okay. We've got the rest of the show. This is what we're going to do, more or less. Of course, like I said, you guys direct the show. It's in the chat. It's really your show. So I've got on my list of notes, I've got birthdays and national days. We've got wine pairings for the big game. We're going to talk about what wines we can pair together, and maybe some beers to pair together for the big game. And we're just going to have some fun. And then I want to talk about Maxwell and what he's doing, because he's doing something really cool. And I really would like to ask everybody to get involved in this. This is really, really a great opportunity for him and for a lot of people, actually. So let's go do the birthdays. And I'm going to need the fireworks here. Fireworks, please. And for those of you who are listening to the podcast later, I have fireworks that go on behind me, okay? We don't really focus on fireworks. It's just, it's just there for decoration. But let's see. The first birthday I want to give a birthday toast to, a birthday shout out to, is my good friend Ed. Another Ed. I know a lot of Eds. There's Ed Panis. There's Ed Anthony, who's in the chat a lot, who visits us. We call him the two Eds. There's a third Ed. An Ed that I go way back with, way back to when I was a kid in church, and knew him from way back when. I remember when he and his wife were married. I think I was at the wedding too, I believe, and I was fairly young then. I was a teenager, I guess, but I remember that, and they've been together for many years. But Ed and Mary. Let me pull, just for a second, let me pull something off. I've got something on it. Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I've got that up there. So anyway, this is for Ed. My good friend Ed celebrated a birthday. I'm not going to say how old he is because, to be honest, I don't really remember. But Ed had his birthday on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, the 3rd. This was February 3rd. And I remember his birthday because, they celebrated his birthday, but also because I'm a February baby too. And so I kind of have a tendency to remember other people whose birthdays were in February. So Ed, his birthday was February 3rd. And if you're watching now or later, Ed, or even if you're not, it's okay. I'm going to toast you anyway. Here's to you, my good friend Ed Strickland. Happy, happy birthday. And may you have many, many, many more. And I'm going to fill the glass again because I want to toast another friend. This is for William, for Bill. I call him Bill. We call him Bill. He's known as William, but Bill. He is the husband of one of my wife's cousins, and my wife has many cousins. She does. Bless her heart. And Bill is the husband, and he's getting up there in age. I don't know if he's watching now. I don't know if he gets on Facebook much anymore or any other platforms. But Bill, if you're watching now or later, whenever, or listening to the podcast at some point, I want to give you a birthday shout out because your birthday was Thursday, this past Thursday. This was on the 4th, the day after Ed's. And Bill, this is to you. Happy, happy birthday. And I hope you and Julie, are all are doing very well. Now I have another birthday here to shout out, another birthday to toast. Please feel free to toast along with me. Okay? This is from my good friend Don. Don and I go way back to when we were both working at Onfor. So we were both IT people. We were both in the IT industry. And we were doing some contract work with OnForce, which was an online, basically it was an online platform for matching up IT service providers with customers. And Don and I got to know each other online, pretty much. Actually, we've never actually met face to face, but I feel like I've known him for many years because he and I have interacted quite a bit. He was part of the force field, and when I did my force field podcast and all that, he was part of all that. And anyway, so here's to my good friend Don. Your birthday is coming. Oh, what was it? The 4th? Yeah, it was also Thursday, the 4th. That's right. Thursday, February 4th. This is my good friend Don Ridings. Happy, happy birthday. Happy birthday to my good friend Don. Now, I have one more birthday here. It's a special birthday toast. Special birthday toast for someone, actually a member of the family. This is for my mother-in-law. Yes, I do love my mother-in-law. I do care about my mother-in-law. The old mother-in-law jokes and everything, or the old battle axe, or whatever it is. Look, there are a lot of guys who do love their mothers-in-law, and a lot of wives who do love their mothers-in-law, and are close to them and are family, and I think the whole mother-in-law thing is perpetuated by some TV shows I'm not going to mention, but the mother-in-law, it's kind of almost like a cliche, the cliche of the mean old mother-in-law, especially in regards to the son-in-law. But that's not the case here. That's not the case here. She's always treated me well. She's always treated me like a son. And this is for my mother-in-law, Juliana and Sean. We call in Tagalog, known as mother, and mother. And for my kids, Lola, which is the grandmother. This is for my mother-in-law. Her birthday is coming up tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow pretty soon, about another hour and 1 minute. So to my mother-in-law, Juliana and Sean, happy, happy birthday. Happy birthday to an I. So I think that does it for the birthdays. And once again, if you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's this. This is the Birichino Malvasia Bianca. It's a white wine. Yes, I know. For those who just joined me, what? Rick is drinking a white wine? Oh, no. Is the world coming to an end today? Are we in the last days? Well, we might be. I don't know. But it's not because of me. I don't think. It's a white wine. Yes, I'm having a white wine tonight. Because tomorrow is the big game. All right? And I'll explain all that in just a couple of minutes. But let's go back to the chat for just a moment, because we're going to talk about wine pairings a little bit. Back to the chat. What do we have here going on? And Ed Maxwell's in the chat. It's great to see you both. It really is. And what else we have going on here? let's see. Yes, Barnstar says, I'll have to check my National Day calendar for a Mother-in-Law Appreciation Day. I think they do have one, actually. I think they do have one, Barnstar. It's something on Mother-in-Law Day or something like that. There's a TV show years ago, and I used to watch it because I used to think it was funny, but I was a dumb kid then, and I used to think everything was funny. But it was called The Mothers-in-Law. Anybody know about that show? It's called The Mothers-in-Law, and it was made. I think the thing that really got me interested in watching that show was because it was produced by Desi Liu, I believe, if I remember right. It was produced by Desi Liu, who of course is the production company that Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz formed for I Love Lucy and shows after that. Okay, here's a trivia question for you, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here. Do you know last week I was trying to give away some stuff last week, and I asked everyone to send in their entries, to rick@savoymedia.com. That's rick@savoymedia.com. I'm still waiting for those. Nobody's sending in their entries. I guess they didn't really want to win a weather radio, but you can still do that. I want to hold it over for another week or so, and I'll explain that before we leave if somebody can remind me. And Anthony, if you're in the chat, you're good at reminding me about things. So maybe you can remind me later. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give away a dad joke book. Here's a trivia question for you. If you can tell me now, of course, all right, Barnstar, you already have a dad joke book. And you have a calendar too, I believe, right? So you're probably going to, I'm probably going to have to you're probably going to have to sit out this one, even if you know the answer, which you may. Okay, so Barnstar says, some hardcore wine fanatics might think the world is coming to an end seeing somebody drinking an unchilled wine. Yeah, I'm omitted from this, I know, is what he says. Okay, so here's the trivia question. Because I mentioned Desi Liu, and I mentioned the TV show The Mothers-in-Law, and I'm trying to remember, I know that I know the actresses that were in that show, and right offhand I'm drawing a blank, but I know I know them. I mean, I don't know them personally. I know who they are. Okay, enough of that. Anyway, so I mentioned the Mother-in-Law show, and I mentioned Desi Liu. There are two of the kind of the later shows on Desi Liu. There are two of the last shows that were produced by Desi Liu, and one that was really popular. Both of them were really popular. The two shows that Desi Liu produced. One was I'm giving away too much. All right. Both were in the 60s, were produced in the 60s. One was a sci-fi show, and one was I want to say a spy show. Okay? One was kind of a spy show, and one was a science fiction show. Both very popular shows in the 60s. And both have had a number of movies made since these shows. In fact, one of the shows had after it ended its sixth season, I think. I'm not going to say which one. After it ended its sixth season, it was on hiatus for a few years, and then came back for another 2 years. And then was canceled again. And then after that, there've been a number of movies, a whole string of movies made about this particular, based on this particular show. So if you can name me those two shows produced by Desi Liu, which was, Ricky and Lucy, and the production company from Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. If you can either put it in the chat during the show while the show's going, or you can send it to me at rick@savoymedia.com. That's rick@savoymedia.com. And I will send you, if you win, if you got them correct, and if there are multiple entries, I will choose from the best one. But if you're correct, I will send you a 500 plus dad joke book. I've got it right here. You know what? I got a picture of it right here too. No, where is it? Oh, that's not it. Okay. Wrong one. Okay, where is my picture of the dad joke book? I thought I had it set up here. Yeah, here it is. 500 plus dad jokes, funny, clean, corny, and just plain silly jokes. And I'm going to give one away to the person who can give me the answer to the two TV shows, or two of the last TV shows produced by Desi Lou Productions back in the 60s. One was a science fiction show, and one was a spy show, and they were both very, very popular, and had movies made from them. So let's see if you can guess this one. And if any of the editors are in the chat, I bet at least one of you can answer that. My wife, she says, be careful what you say about your mother-in-law. Remember, you can divorce your spouse, but not your mother-in-law. This is true. This is true. You divorce your spouse, but your mother-in-law is your mother-in-law for life. That sounds kind of ominous, doesn't it? Look, I love my mother-in-law. It's all good. It's all good. So anything else going on YouTube before we get into the rest of this? All right, nothing else. So let's talk about wines that will pair with foods for the big game. So here we go. I don't know what you're planning to eat for the big game, or the big game, but traditionally, as I've heard it, they're predicting something like 1.6 billion chicken wings to be consumed for the big game. And we're talking about the big game. We're talking about well, obviously the big game that's happening tomorrow. So, okay, so why can't we say why can't we say that? Well, because it's trademarked. It's trademarked by the NFL, which I think is also trademarked. So I don't know if I'll get in trouble by saying NFL. I don't know. National Football League. I think that's trademarked too. It's a no-win, isn't it? It's just a no-win when it comes to talking about things. And of course, I'm streaming this on YouTube, so who knows if I'll get a copyright strike for that tomorrow or even right now. I have no idea. So we're going to stick to the big game. So, and I'm saying that facetiously because I think the whole thing is stupid. I mean, the whole thing about the name trademarking and risking getting sued for mentioning this, the big game, the other word for it. I just think the whole thing's just stupid. But that's my opinion. Anyway, so wines for the big game. This is why I purchased the Malvasia and why we're trying it out tonight. Because I'm looking for some wines that would go with hot wings. Now, some people prefer to have hot wings. They're going to be like 1.6 billion or 3.6 billion, something like that. It's in the billions. That's all I know. It's in the billions. The chicken wings that will be consumed during the big game. So some people will automatically say, okay, well, I'm going to have a beer with that, which is good because most beers will go good with any kind of wings. With any without being said, beer goes pretty well with wings. It's just normal. Okay. But when it comes to wine, if you're really into wine and prefer wine over beer, now if you prefer tequila or something else like that, a rum and tequila or gin or something like that during the big game, then you're on your own on that because I don't think it matters anyway. Because after you've had a few of those, you don't care what it all tastes like, right? Yeah. So, but if you're trying to really pair the food, the beer will generally go better with some of those hot wings, the really spicy foods, and will go pretty well. That's why they serve beer with a lot of Mexican food. That's why. But if you're talking about wine, that gets a little tricky because you can't just bring home a bottle of wine and put up the nachos and the spicy Doritos and the cheeses and stuff like that and say, well, I'm gonna and wings, and say, hey, I'm gonna mix these hot wings and some of this really spicy food with this wine. It's not necessarily going to work, and you might be very disappointed. You might gag on some. I don't know. Wines, it's a pretty particular pairing when it comes to wines. Now, whites, some whites and sweeter whites are going to pair better with the sweetness and the spiciness of the hot wings. And in fact, the hotter the buffalo wings are, the spicier they are, the more of a sweeter wine you probably want to get. I have a few recommendations that I actually wrote down that I can share with you. I would say for hot wings, I would say this Malvasia in general will probably go good with it, and I'm thinking this one will go good. If you can't get a Malvasia wine, a Moscato, which is a very common wine, a Moscato is a good choice. A Riesling is also a good choice. All three of those wines are very good choices for hot wings. Now, barbecue wings, you got a little more leeway. When it comes to barbecue wings, you can go with any of those white wines. You could even go for I don't know, I'd say maybe a white Pinot Grigio or something like that. You can go for a lot of different wines. Pinot Noir for the reds, Pinot Noirs, Zinfandels. There are a number of red wines that will go pretty well with barbecue wings. And we've had barbecue wings with some of these wines in the past, and I have some of them up here behind me. By the way, that's not a green screen behind me, okay? All right, that's not a green screen either. That's a blue screen. But this is real, okay? I can pick these wines up and pick them up. They're real. See, I'll pick one up now. How about that? This Pinotage, this will probably be okay. This, let's see. La Paria. This might work pretty well. It's 2019. That might work pretty well with it. But a lot of these different wines will go with the barbecue wings. A lot of barbecue wings. Pinot Noirs, that's pretty much a safe bet. Zinfandels, that's a safe bet to go with those. Now, not everybody eats wings. Okay, a lot of people have pizza. A lot of pizza. Okay. For pizzas, you've got a wide variety. Once again, Pinots are good, Cabs are good. You can have a good Cab with a pizza, a Merlot. You can have a Chianti. I would recommend a Chianti, a nice Chianti with the pizza. That would be pretty good. I enjoy a good Chianti with a really nice pizza, especially if it's loaded down with a lot of cheese. Depends on the pizza too. I mean, there's some pizzas that are better than others. If you have a decent pizza, though, I'd say go with a Chianti. When it comes to finger foods, and a lot of places will do it. Now, if you've got nachos and things like that, go back to spicier foods, then you want to kind of stick, once again, to the white wines. But, Mexican foods, tacos, things like that. But if you're going to have things like just finger foods, finger sandwiches, things like that, then because people serve a wide variety of foods, a wide array of foods when they're serving food for the big game. So what you want to do is you want to check your wines, check the food pairings on that. But if sandwiches and things like that, a lot of the reds will be fine with the sandwiches. And if you don't like a red, you probably maybe a Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio or something would probably be okay with some of those. But I'll say you can't go wrong with this Malvasia. This is I would highly recommend. I think I have not tried it with a hot wing, but I think based on what I tried it with here, this is a little bit drier than I expected. So I don't know that this is going to be the best choice for a hot wing, but it'll probably go great with a barbecue wing, and it'll go great with a lot of fish. It'll go great with if you're serving some other foods that are a little spicy, but not too spicy. Maybe some Mexican food. I think this would probably go good with some Mexican foods. I would really go more for the Moscato or the Riesling, things like that. The Riesling wines, if you're going to be serving the hot wings, and the hotter and the spicier, the more you're going to have to be careful about that with wine. I would say if it's really super spicy, stick with the beer. And maybe forego the wine somewhat, because the wine might be just a little bit too, especially if you're going to if you've got a wine with a fair amount of tannin in it. This does not have a whole lot of tannin in it, but and it's drier than I expected though, so it's not that sweet. But if you're talking about wine with a lot of tannin in it, do not mix those with really hot, spicy wings, foods like that. I don't know that I really recommend it for specifically for that. You want to stick with a sweeter wine. So, what are your plans for the big game? What's everybody's plans for the big game? Yeah, I'm having some fun with that. All right, so see, Barnstar says, I'm going to look up which wines go well with pepperoni pizza. Oh, yeah. Chianti will go great with a pepperoni pizza. That'd be fine. Zinfandel, too. Barnstar says Zinfandels, Dolcettos, Chianti. Never tried the latter two. I kind of grew up drinking Chianti. My dad used to drink a lot of Chianti. Of course, he had the big table ones and the wines. But, I love good Chianti. Yeah. Dolcettos, Zinfandels. I like good. We reviewed Chianti. I've got a Chianti over there somewhere, and several Zins that we've reviewed. That in fact, I think I paired one of them with a pizza once or twice. We'll do that again at some point. So, what's everybody else thinking here? Maxwell says, funny because Lamar Hunt, the late owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, came up with a name for the event after watching his daughter playing with a Super Ball on the floor of his kitchen. And nobody worries about offending them and getting a trademark strains. That's interesting, Maxwell. I did not know that. I really did not know that. So Lamar Hunt, the late owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, came up with the name for the big game. And they were playing with a Super Ball. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I will take your word for it. It's probably true. I would not be surprised. And then they trademark it right away because, and the reason they trademarked it was, the original reason why they trademarked this was because a lot of commercials, the commercials were getting popular for the big game, and there were a lot of people writing about it, and there were a lot of ads popping up saying, "Oh, this is the food of choice for." Insert the name of the big game here. This is what you should buy while you're watching. This is the TV you should buy for watching the insert name of the big game here kind of thing. So it got to the point where the NFL, I think at first the NFL was not too hot about this, but they, as they watched a lot of companies use the name of that bowl game, I'm going to say that bowl game. I don't think they can trademark the word bowl, right? So when they started seeing all these companies profit from them, and the NFL was getting like, okay, wait a minute, they're profiting, they're making a lot of money from promoting and profiting from promoting their product and associating it with our bowl game. And that's when they started getting a little hot under the collar about it, and where they, said, okay, we're going to start going after people who are violating our trademark. And so you can't do this anymore. They sent out all these edicts and whatever illegal things, and I think they went after a few companies for it too, if I recall correctly. But to sue them for using their trademarked name of their particular bowl game for hawking their products. And that's how that kind of all started. And it's gotten to the point where people now are afraid, even on, and unless you're a TV commentator where you're actually using it under the Fair Use Act, which these days doesn't seem so fair anymore because that gets abused too. But, and for both sides, from all sides, really. But a lot of the TV commentators, they can say it. News anchors, they can say it and that kind of thing because they're commenting on the news, that sort of thing. But a lot of other people are kind of concerned. They afraid to mention the name of that particular bowl game, but for fear of getting sued, because the NFL has, in their wrath, been very, very, I don't want to say proactive. They've been very serious about going after these people, so that's why. And I'm just doing this because I'm making fun of the whole thing, because I think it's just way over the top. So that's why I call it the big game. Not the big game, but the big game. Because I'm having fun making fun of it, and just because I can. So, having said that, thanks for that. I appreciate the information, Maxwell. I really do. So let's. We've talked about the wine pairings. We've got the open chat. I want to talk about Maxwell, as a matter of fact. I want to bring him up right now, too, while everybody's here, because I have to tell you about this. I have to tell you about this, and I want to ask a favor for everyone here, all my friends watching on all the streams and listening to the podcast. And this is kind of time sensitive, so I want to get this out. But first, before we do that, I do want to briefly mention that it is still winter. This is my public service announcement. It is still winter, and we've had a nor'easter go through in the last week or so. We've had some storms come through, and you know what? As you know, that this kind of storm thing happens all the time. Not necessarily winter storms, but we have hurricanes and tornadoes and all kinds of things, plus earthquakes and whatnot these days anywhere in the world. And you really want to be prepared. It's important to be prepared. I'm a ham radio operator myself. I own a number of radios, and I like to be prepared for disasters and events. Try to be. We're not always prepared as we think we are, but I try to be somewhat prepared for any kind of disaster that comes along, because you never know. You just never know when something's going to happen. You're going to get that big storm come through. You're going to get that, earthquake. It can happen with an earthquake if you're on the West Coast, especially. We had an earthquake here a year or so ago that really woke us up. I mean, shook us awake, literally. And fortunately, it wasn't that bad, but it was, it's like we hadn't had an earthquake like that in 100 years. So, or what I've been told, because I wasn't there 100 years ago for the last one. But, I'm not as old as I look, okay? Not yet. But, you get disasters happening everywhere. And, tsunamis and, cyclones, all kinds of nasty stuff, okay? So it's important to be prepared, because you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So this is why I urge everyone to be prepared. Be prepared for an emergency, and have a go bag. You know what a go bag is? Have a go bag ready with all the necessary, at least 72 hours worth of supplies, batteries, and food, and water, and all the necessities, the basic necessities you need, just in case something happens, or the big one comes. We have some kind of nuclear disaster or whatever it is, and I don't want to be a doomsday sayer, but what I'm saying is, like, you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, or tonight even. So be ready, be prepared. The government tells you to be prepared. So much so, they're concerned about it, so much so that they have set up a website called ready.gov. That's ready.gov. Go to ready.gov. Look through all their preparedness checklists and all their warnings about being prepared and all their hints and tips and things like that. They've got a checklist for all kinds of preparedness. Now, the number 3 item on their list, is a radio, and a weather radio in particular. A hand crank radio is one that they definitely recommend. If you lose power, you can hand crank it. I've showed you a couple. I don't have they're across the studio here now, but I've showed them in the past that I've got a couple of hand crank radios just for such emergencies, and they work pretty well. They do, but please just be prepared. Get a go bag together. Put yourself an emergency kit together with all the necessities. Add a radio to that kit. A two-way radio is good to have, so you can call in case of emergency, and so the first responders can reach you if the cell towers go down, if the cell service goes out, which does happen, and landlines go out, things like that, and lose power. that's all you got left is a two-way radio. The very least, a weather radio to keep you apprised of all the warnings and the latest alerts and the government alerts and things like that. So please, if put an emergency kit together and go to buy2wayradios.com. If you go to, that's not it. Buy2wayradios.com. Go to buy2wayradios.com. We have all kinds of radios: weather radios, FRS, GMRS radios, ham radios, marine radios, airband radios, business class radios. We have all kinds of radios. A lot of radios there, and a lot of radio accessories. If you go to ready.com for a weather radio or any of those kind of radios, use the promo code WINESHOW. That's WINESHOW, WINESHOW. Use that promo code. You will get 5% off your order. You get 5% off the entire order. It's good for anything on there. I know it works because I've used it. I've used it a couple of times, and more recently for an accessory that I use for this show. As a matter of fact, go to buy2wayradios.com, enter promo code WINESHOW. You'll save 5% off your order. Now, for full disclosure, full FTC disclosure, I am the product manager for Buy2Way Radios. I work for the company. However, I am not being paid to do this, okay? I'm not getting any kind of a payment, extra payment, or anything like that. They're not a sponsor, official sponsor of the show. I'm not getting paid to pitch this to you. This is something I'm doing as public service, and they've given me this promo code to use, and this is really more of a public service. So for full disclosure, I'm not being paid to do this. I get paid for doing a lot of other stuff, but during the week when I'm at work, but I don't get paid for doing this, okay? So just to let you know, for full disclosure, I'm doing this because this is what I want to give you, because I care about you and your welfare. So this is what I'm going to give you as a viewer and a listener of Drink with Rick. So that's that. So there's something I wanted to mention, and let me check the chat one more time briefly. If I still have folks in the chat, they didn't run away after that pitch. And Square Guy says, thank you for keeping us company in the car. We'll duck out for now. Hopefully, I'll talk to you soon. Well, and you've arrived at IKEA. Wow, you're at IKEA. Well, buy me something good. Just kidding. Have fun at IKEA. Have fun. That's a fun place to go and check out. Have fun. Says, see you, gang. See you, that Square Guy. Hope you and Darcy are doing well, and I'll catch you again later on. Barnstar says, I think the World Bowl is already trademarked. Is it really? Huh. How about that? Barnstar says, that'd definitely be a great necessity to have in tornado country. Have you ever seen a tornado live or been close to one? I think I've seen one. They told me they weren't sure if it was one or not. I don't want to be close to one. I don't want to see one live. I don't want to be close to one. But yeah, they've been around in our area. From Florida. Florida is kind of tornado country. It is the lightning capital of the world. I will tell you this, though. I've been a lot closer to the lightning than I would want to be. And if I had my preferences, I'd rather not be close to either tornadoes or lightning. But I've been way too close to lightning before. I've got stories about that. Maybe if I have time, we'll go into one of those. Yeah, lightning stories. I had a kid. I had an incident of lightning that floored me. Literally floored me. Yes, it was way too close. Yes, I have been close to a lot of that stuff. And hurricanes. I've been in the middle of hurricanes. Living in Florida, it becomes kind of a if you move to Florida, it becomes kind of a rite of passage. If you live in Florida, if you're born in Florida, it's sort of a way of life in a way. Tornadoes more, we've had some tornadoes come through Florida. We've had some really bad ones come through. We had a few come through North Carolina. Now we missed one. We had one come through a couple of years back. Cut through, I think a little bit to the south of us, southeast of us, and it just missed us. But it kind of cut through in the general vicinity. That was a little freaky. And we did get a notification on our weather radio. By the way, the weather radio, do I have it up here? No, I guess I don't. I was going to show you a picture of my weather radio that we have downstairs, and we have quite a few of them. that we use, and they've come in very, very handy. We had an Amber Alert that went off last week before, and for a missing child. Amber, they do send Amber Alerts over the weather, some of the weather radios too. The ones that have the specific area message encoding technology embedded in the radios. So you'll get those emergency NOAA alerts, emergency service alerts. So anyway, let me get to what I was going to say here about Maxwell. My good friend Maxwell, who's in the chat, who's probably been patiently waiting in the wings in the chat. And Maxwell, I'm really glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here tonight, my friend. All right, so I have a favor to ask of everybody, and to set this up a little bit, my good friend Maxwell Ivy, I met him at Podfest years back, and Maxwell is very special. A very special podcaster. He's a fellow podcaster, and he does a podcast called "What's Your Excuse?" And the thing about Maxwell is that wait a minute, I got something going on here. What is this? Okay. Haha, forgot the national days, didn't I? We'll go through the national days after this. I want to get through this first. Maxwell is he's blind. He's a blind blogger. He is the blind blogger. In fact, his website is theblindblogger.net. And I encourage you to go to his website and visit it. Now, I'm very sensitive to that kind of thing myself, because I was born. I was nearsighted. I'm nearsighted. I wear glasses, and they're thick. They're actually normally would be thicker than what you see me wearing here on the wine stream. This is because I wear high index lenses. I wear very high index lenses, which means that they can actually make these lenses a little thinner than they would normally be. But if it wasn't for the high index lenses, I'd be wearing what people would call Coke bottle lenses, really thick glasses, because I am quite nearsighted. Now, I do wear contacts from time to time. I can do that. But it's a blessing that I still have the gift of sight, even though it's always been a handicap for me in many ways, been both a blessing and a curse in some situations, my nearsightedness. And I've been very sensitive to that, and it's sort of been a crutch. There's some things that I haven't done because of my various, my apprehensive approaches to doing certain things because of my poor eyesight. And it's something that I have had to deal with pretty much most of my life. So I'm very sensitive, but the thing is that I can still see. With the corrective lenses, I can still see. So my eyesight is very important to me because I use it for so many things. I depend on my day job. And I produce videos, and I've done my filmmaking and all these other things that I've done that pretty much require eyesight. And so I don't take my eyesight for granted. I don't. It's a blessing, and I'm thankful every day that I wake up that I still have my eyesight. I really appreciate it. I don't take my eyesight for granted. And the thing is that most people who never have to wear glasses or have to deal with that, it's not something that you often think about. You kind of take your eye. It's like, oh yeah, I see this and say that, and you kind of assume everybody can see what you see, and that's not the case. And it's not until you are faced with the risk of maybe reduced eyesight or losing your eyesight that you really learn to appreciate it a little bit more. So I'm very sensitive to that topic. And my friend Maxwell, he lost his eyesight some time back, and he can tell you his story, because I want you to go visit his site, and so he can tell you his story. But I often thought that, well, what if I lost my eyesight tomorrow? That would be just a devastating thing. For all the things that I do, it would be devastating for me. And here comes Maxwell, here's a guy who's lost his eyesight, and yet his attitude, I know what my attitude would be like. I mean, it's so depressing and everything. But here's a guy who comes along, lost his eyesight, and his attitude is not like that at all. He has, I think, just such an inspiring attitude for this. He's actually a very inspiring person if you ever meet him. It's very inspiring. But he does this podcast called What's Your Excuse? He doesn't use his blindness as a crutch at all. He doesn't let it get in the way of what he wants to do. And he wants to empower other people, especially those who are blind and who have sight issues. He doesn't want others to have that sort of attitude either. He doesn't want to have them to use that as a hindrance to what they want to do, to pursue their dreams. I think that's a very noble thing for Maxwell to aspire to, and he has done so much. I mean, it's impressive, some things that he's done. He does a podcast called, What's Your Excuse? He has a blog. He has a blog, and this is theblindblogger.net. Go check it out. But he's been very inspiring to me as someone who's always been in fear of that and losing eyesight. He's been an inspiration to me, and I think he's about to embark on something, or he's embarking on something now that I think is really such an enormously inspiring. But it's also, I think it's an awesome project, and I want to tell you about what this is about. Now, there is a website. I'm going to give you the website because I want you to go check it out when you get a chance. This is called holman.lighthouse-sf.org. Holman.lighthouse-sf.org. I'll see if I can leave a link in the show notes for the show. But they give away what's called the Holman Prize, and it's named after a gentleman by the name of James Holman, who was a blind world traveler of the 19th century. Now, think about it. For a lot of blindness, for a lot of people, you can't imagine, like, well, goodness, that's so debilitating. How could anybody be traveling around, being a world traveler? This gentleman, James Holman, was a world traveler, 19th century world traveler, traveling independently, and he was blind. Pretty amazing stuff. And there are a lot of blind people out there that have gone on to do some pretty amazing things, and Maxwell is one of those people, one of those guys who has been just really inspirational in that sense. Doesn't let it hold him back. Doesn't let that hold him back at all. He has a dream. He has dreams. He has aspirations to do things he wants to do, and he goes out and does them and doesn't let this get in his way. How many of us out there that have all of our senses and all of our faculties and all the things available to us, how many of us could say that? I mean, you got to say that's pretty impressive. I think it is. So, getting back to the Holman Prize, the Holman Prize is actually given away by the Lighthouse for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and they're based in San Francisco, California. And they focus on nurturing and promoting that kind of can-do approach. Or as they say, looking on their website, they say nurturing the can-do attitude within the blind community. And they introduced the Holman Prize in 2017. Now, what they do is they'll award three people. You can apply for this prize, this Holman Prize, and they give out 3 awards, 3 different people every year. And these are people who are blind people who have risen above their blindness and are doing pretty extraordinary things and want to have a way to expand on that. And what they do is they give out a $25,000 prize for that blind person who has a big idea, wants to do that, but needs the funds to make that happen. And so there are a number of people that apply for this every year. Maxwell is one of those who has applied. He has applied for the Holman Prize this year for 2021 year, and this is his This is his project. This is what he wants to do with the $25,000. We're talking, and he says, making podcast dreams come true for blind storytellers of 2021. What he wants to do is he wants to take 25, he wants to take the money and do it to get 25 people, 25 storytellers to become podcasters, start their own podcast, videocast, whatever it is, and to get them on that road. And he wants to use it, the money, to help make that happen, to help get these people started and get them going on their dreams of being a storyteller or podcaster. I think that's a very, very cool idea. I think it's such a cool idea. It's a very noble idea. And I really want to help Maxwell out myself as much as possible. This is what I'm doing here. I know I'm going along with this, but this is what I've got a favor to ask to all of you, everyone who's listening and watching now or later. Not too much later, because I think the prize gets awarded, I think, in the middle of the month. But they're going to decide on this. So this is how you can help. What I'd like to ask each of you to do is to go to that website, the Holman, I'm going to have a link to it again, holman.lighthouse-sf.org. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to put this link right now in all of the chats. Let me put this in, give me just a moment. I'm going to put this in all the chats because this is important. And if anybody's still watching. So I'm going to put this in here and Twitch too. Let me get this, make sure this is in Twitch. There we go, in the chat. And on YouTube. So I've got these in the chats. I don't know if Twitter, I don't know how I can add something to Twitter here in just a little bit. But this is what I'd like for you to do. Go there to the website and look over the website. They have, I think there are like 6 or 7 entries in there right now. His is, I think, the last on the list of the video entries. He made a video explaining what he wants to do, what his project is. Now, the way that you can help Maxwell is simply by watching the video and liking it. If you click on the likes, the number of likes, they're kind of going to use that. Leave him a comment. Leave him a comment in the YouTube on the YouTube page for the video. Leave a comment for the video. Like his video. And that's what I guess they're using to judge on this to make it happen. So the more likes he gets, the more views, the more comments, the more likes he gets, the more chances. Those are his votes. Those are the chances. The more chances he has of being one of the winners of this $25,000 prize. Maxwell, my friend, I wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best on this. I have watched the video. I've liked it. You're right there. Please do this as a favor for me. I know that I have just recently put up a Buy Me a Coffee thing where you can contribute to the show and things like that. And I know that a lot of you on Twitch have wondered, well, how can I contribute to Drink with Rick to help the show along? If you could, I would ask that at this time, I'm not asking for anything right now for the show. I'm not asking for, even though I do have the Buy Me a Coffee link on the site. If you're thinking about buying me a coffee, please, if you're going to make a choice as to what to do, go see Maxwell's video instead and click like on that. Please like Maxwell's video. I think that would be worth much more to Maxwell and to me and to everybody than just send me a contribution at this time. Please, if you're going to do that, go see Maxwell. I mean, if you want to give me a contribution, that's fine, but I'd rather that you please take this time to go like Maxwell's post, and let's see if we, his video, and let's see if we can get Max into that $25,000 prize so he can realize his dream and help 25 other podcasters realize their dreams of blind storytellers for 2021. Please do that, and I would be most appreciative of that. That would be just awesome. So that's my favor that I'm asking for all of you. If you can do that, that would just be awesome. Maxwell says, thanks, Rick. It's a real honor to have you reach out and offer to help like this. Thanks so much to you and your fans, Max. Max, hey, I'm more than happy to do it, my friend. I'm more than happy to do it. And if there's anything else that I can do in that respect to help make this happen for you, let me know. Don't hesitate to let me know because I surely want to help you out on this. I really do. Thank you. And that's for my friend Maxwell. And you know what? At this time, I want to give, whoops, if I don't knock it over first. Let's knock it over. I want to give a special toast to my good friend Maxwell Ivy Jr. To Max, thank you very much for being here. And I do appreciate, I think what you're doing is awesome. Here's to you, a toast to Maxwell. And you know what? I'm going to toast you again just because I can. Toast to Maxwell. Thank you. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll get you there. Hopefully we will. So I think that's pretty much all I got tonight. Wow, it's getting, wow, time flies when you're having fun, isn't it? Doesn't it? Anybody else got anything else in the chat going on? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to cover? And look, I'm going to give my summary now because if we're going to talk a little bit, let's do that now. I did say I was going to close the stream up early tonight. I still have half a bottle of wine left, a little over half a bottle, so I didn't really drink that much. Okay, so I have some left over tomorrow for the big game. So this is what we'll be drinking tonight. Birichino Malvasia Bianca. It's actually, this is a wine from Monterey. It's a 2018, 13% alcohol by volume, so it's not that high. Of course, we know that that's not always the true, what they post isn't always the true amount of alcohol. It's usually considerably higher. But this, so far, it's not been bad. It's pretty good. I'm not really tasting much of the alcohol in it. What I do taste in this wine, and you know that I'm not a big white wine fan, but what I do taste in it is... I was tasting some peach, a lot of peach in this wine, and as it has opened up some more, let me take another drink. Yeah, it's opened up some more. The peach is becoming more and more pronounced in it. Also, it's a lot of very flowery wine. I have had some jasmine in there, and it's kind of a limon flavor, kind of citrusy limon, but it's not none of this is really overpowering. It's a really nice mix. Not much tannin in this wine, not a lot of tannins in it. I expected it to be sweet wine, and people were saying it's kind of a sweet wine, but I'm tasting it. It's not that sweet to me. It's not dry. It's not super dry. It's not super dry, but it is a little drier than I expected. And it's not that sweet, and that's fine for me because I'm not a big fan of sweet wine. So I really like this wine. And I think it'll go pretty good. It went well with the turkey, the smoked turkey, actually, and the grilled chicken. And it went well with both of the cheeses, including the Trader Joe's Creamy Gouda. I think it went really well with both of them. Now, there is one thing I said I was going to do towards the end of the show. We're going to test it we're going to try it out with the desserts. So I'm going to try it right now with this wonderful apple pie that really is made with instead of a traditional pie crust, it's made with this is a pastry pie crust. It's just good. Very good. And we're going to try it with this wine. It's an apple pie. It should go okay with the apple. Some spices in it, too. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, you know what? Let me try that again. I got to try that one more time. Sorry, folks, but I got to have another piece of this. Let's try this one more time because, it really magnified the taste of the apple and some of the spices in this. It really did. Let me try this one more time. Wow. Apple and the peach flavoring. Little hint of the citrus flavor in there. This is an awesome pairing. And I'm not surprised because desserts, this is a wine that can go well with a lot of different desserts. But I tell you what, that apple pie, which was already pretty awesome, and this wine, which is pretty awesome actually, go well. Really, they're together. They're really awesome. It's a really awesome combination. It is. I'm impressed. I like this. I like this very much, and I don't say that about just about every wine, as you know. And you know what? I don't drink a lot of white wine, but I could go for this one. I could definitely go for this one. So, Maxwell says, thanks for the offer. I'm not known for restraint when it comes to asking. Take care now and enjoy the game with your wife and boys and dog tomorrow. I appreciate that, Maxwell. And let's see. Barnstar says, wow, 13% is the highest ABV content I've ever heard of. Usually they're around 12 to 12.5%. For a white wine, they generally hover between 12.5 to 13.5%. It's not abnormal for a white. Now for a red wine, this is actually kind of low for red wine. Red wine is, for a white wine, he says for a white wine, 12 to 12.5% for a white wine. It depends on the white. It depends on the white wine. Some white wines, they can be about 12 to 12.5%. 13% highest ABV content. I don't know. I've had. You're right though. You're correct in that with the whites, they generally don't go too far above 13.5%. It really is. It's on. This is a little bit on the high side for a white, but not unreasonable. Not unreasonable. Now, of course, I'm used to drinking the reds, and those can go 15.5%, 16%, whatever they post, higher than that. But there is one more thing I want to try with this, and this is these cookies. Now, I don't know if you recognize, let's see if I can get the close up. These cookies, this is a Valentine's Day one, because that's what they have out at the moment. Okay, I'll tell you what these cookies are. If you don't recognize them, these little round cookies, these are the little Pillsbury cookies that they sell in a tray for $1 or $2. That you put them, you cook them for like 10 minutes, and you've got like 2 dozen of these little cookies. These things are so. I got addicted to them. I tell you what happened. The first time I remember trying one was I was at one of my with the Holdermans, one of their holiday parties, and I've mentioned the Holdermans before. As a matter of fact, Mike and Trudy, they gave me a bottle of wine to review on a wine stream last year, which actually turned out to be pretty good. It was Malbec, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Malbec. But we would go to their holiday parties every year, and we didn't go this year because they didn't have one this year because of the pandemic, which was very disappointing because we've always loved the holiday parties, and oftentimes the only time we have a chance we have to see everybody at the annual party. Hopefully they'll have one next year and we can kind of all get back to normal. But one year Trudy served these. She had they always put on a great party. They do. But one year, among all the desserts they had, she served these little cookies. And I kept going back to the dessert bar and picking up more of these cookies. And I must have eaten, I don't know, half a dozen of these at least. Because they're easy to eat. They're super easy to eat. And I just love these cookies. And then my son and I, we both kind of got addicted to these cookies. And we buy them in the store. And they had them, I think, $1.50 for a package of these. They're little cheap cookies, but they're awesomely good. Anyway, I don't know if you're familiar with these little Pillsbury sugar cookies, and they make them. I can't get too close to them, but they make them with different designs, particular depending on whatever holiday it is or whatever event it is, or it's 4th of July or something. I don't know. They put their little designs in the cookies, and they're really easy baking, and they're easy. They're even easier to eat because you can pop this in your mouth, just one, and it's just it's a pretty awesome sugar cookie. So supposedly this white wines like these should go pretty good with a sugar cookie. Now my son Tommy made a batch of these tonight because he's such a good son. He is. He made a batch of these tonight. So I'm going to try one with this wine. And it is a really good cookie. I'm addicted to these little sugar cookies. So we're going to try it with this wine. See how it goes. Okay. My final review. I got to buy some more of this wine. And I got to buy a lot more of these cookies. That's my final review. More wine and more of these cookies. And I tell you what, for the big game, this is a perfect dessert combination. If you want to gain 40 pounds in one day during the big game, get a bottle of this wine, this Birichino Malvasia Bianca wine, and get a couple packs of these cookies and bake them all and enjoy the game. Because by the end of that game, you're not going to care who won. No matter which team you're rooting for, you're not going to care who won, because between this wine and these cookies, I think this is going to be the true winner of the game. You're not going to care. This is going to be... Oh, man, I got to have another one of these. Oh. These are so... Man, this is awesome. This is so decadent. You know that? And this cookie and this wine. Oh, my goodness. Boy. I better quit now while I'm behind, because I'm going to gain 40 pounds right on this show. You know what? I think that's what's happened. I think I've gained pretty much 30, 40 pounds. When I first started, when you looked at the last week when we did the 100th episode, and I played a few minutes of about 10 minutes of the first episode that we did for nostalgia, to show how far we come. You notice how thin I was then. And everybody said, wow, you look great. You're so thin. And now look at me. I was like, I've gained all that back, plus that's what I can't blame it all on the wine stream. It's mostly my fault for not, for letting it happen. But, all this fine wine and food pairing and these wonderful, wonderful desserts that my lovely wife, she has made, and these cookies that my son baked. And, like I said, it takes its toll, right? It takes its toll. But, hey, it's the sacrifice I make for doing the show, for bringing this to you each and every week. It's the sacrifice I make. It's a tough sacrifice, but hey. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Marcia says, you're probably right about that, Rick. I don't know which item he was talking about, but anymore, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Look, it's time to close up the stream. It's past time to close up the stream. It is way past time to close up the stream. But I think we've covered everything, I think, pretty much, right? I want to thank you, everybody, for being here. I want to thank you for being here with me tonight. I truly appreciate it, and I've truly enjoyed it. I've had a great time with all of you, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. I want to thank my lovely wife Chi for making this and for being in the chat. I want to thank my good friend Maxwell for being here, and Ed Panis. Thank you for being here in the chat tonight. I do appreciate it. And I can hardly wait for the next episode of Selling Sarasota, by the way. And I want to thank, who else is here? People have been lurking. People lurking around. James and, wow, let's see, who else is here that been kind of lurking around? I can't see everybody, but appreciate it. That's on Facebook. On YouTube, it's been quiet on YouTube tonight. But on Twitch, I want to thank, okay, I don't want to miss anybody on Twitch because I did that last week, and I don't want to do that this week. But there are a number of people who've been watching me and who have been here, and I want to mention each and every one of you. Barnstar, thank you for being here, my good friend. As always, thank you for being here and for your contributions to the show, because they are part of the show. You are part of the show. That's what this is all about. I want to thank that Square guy for stopping in, because I know that he's halfway around the world. He's on Australia. This is I tell you, it takes a lot for folks in Australia, New Zealand, some of those places halfway around the world, Philippines or whatever, to watch the show when it's nighttime here. It's who knows what time of day it is there, and it takes a little bit of a sacrifice to do that sometimes, to time out what you're doing to watch this. But I'm really so glad that you did, and that is much appreciated. Let's see, who else did I miss? I don't want to miss anybody. Little Miss Nikki, I don't know if you're still watching, but thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. And man, that's awesome. Please come back again. And I really appreciate you being here. And let's see, who else did we miss? Did we miss anybody? Let me know if we missed anybody. Drink with Rick, that was me. I posted in there. I'm going through the chat, just trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Look, if I missed anyone, I'm sorry, because I can only see who is actually posting in the chat at this point. But thank you for being here. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Look, as the week goes on, we're going to have another show next week. It's going to be fun. I'll plan some other things. Maybe I'll show one of my other films from days gone by. We'll see. But in the meantime, I want everybody to have a great week. I want you to have a safe week, especially. Please have a safe week. If you're going to drink in the comfort of your home, your apartment, your hotel room, your dwelling, wherever you are. Call an Uber, call a Lyft, call a cab. Call a friend to drive you home. Otherwise, please just stay where you are for the evening, because I do care about you, and I don't want anything to happen to you or anyone else around you. Please don't drink and drive. That's a very, very bad thing. Please don't text and drive. That's also a bad thing, because I want you to have a great week, but also I want you to have a safe week. So you can all join me here again next week. We can all be here together on the Saturday Night Wine Stream, and we can all get together and drink with Rick. Good night.